All right. How we doing tonight? I am Mike, your ghost host, and I was just listening to that intro, and every time it laughs, that's what it sounds like in my mind. So, yeah, here we are. But anyway, tonight we're going to do a little something different. I did have planned to, I believe it's run episode 3 from the Indiana Sheriff's House and Old Jail, but I'm going to put that off until next week to get something a little bit different this week. This week I'd like to talk about types of spirits, apparitions, ghosts, paranormal experiences, how people see and perceive these spirits, or entities, or apparitions, or ghost people, ghost men, ghost women, shadow people, shadow children, shadow pets. And supposedly, a bunch of experts got together and put a list together. And it's a nice little list, but my only thing is I don't believe in experts in this field. There are plenty of other fields out there with experts all over the place, and I'm not saying that experts don't exist in other forms, but as far as the paranormal goes, I don't believe there are any experts. There are well-versed. There are people that have experienced quite a bit. There are people that can tell you what they've experienced, and in their experience, what it appears to be to them. And pretty much the rule of thumb is if there's a consensus among a group of people that this is how we perceive spirits. Over the years, descriptions and the way eyewitnesses explain things, people have come to use certain terminology, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, and words have been created because I don't think ectoplasm was in any Latin words that I can think of, and I don't even know Latin, but I'm pretty sure that it wasn't. But I'm not going to really worry about that. So there are plenty of terms out there that we have all heard, if we have not used them ourselves. A lot of times there were words that I had to really figure out where they came from. I would investigate that. Back in the day, it was due to encyclopedias. We didn't have the internet, so you had to open up a book and read it. And when I was growing up as a kid, I would be doing my homework, and I'd ask my dad, how do you spell a certain word? And he'd say, look it up in a dictionary. Well, my smart ass would, if I don't know how to spell it, how can I look it up in a dictionary? Yeah, give me a starter here. Give me the first 3 letters and we'll run. We had to open up dictionaries, encyclopedias, and those were expertly written books. But as far as an expert telling you what you saw or what they feel is, an entity, or how it appears to you, it's all conjecture. Everything is open for interpretation, and we have to run with it. One of my major downfalls is actually describing, while I'm listening to EVPs, for instance. I really struggle with trying to describe what the sound is. So another person can determine whether or not they hear the same thing or think I'm out of my tree. There's a lot of reasons for that, and one of the reasons that I have as far as listening is I have tinnitus. I'm hard of hearing and I have tinnitus. That doesn't help the cause. But with that being said, I can differentiate certain words in certain tones. I hear very limited tone, I don't know what you call it, tone levels. For instance, as far as listening to, and this was told to me by my doctor, that I have a hard time listening or hearing women and children. Boy, no kidding. And that isn't even called selective hearing at that point. It is the tones that I can't hear. So while a woman will be talking to me, I might hear or see the mouth moving and hear certain parts because of the fluctuation in voice. There's a pretty good chance I'm not even going to hear a word you're saying. Same thing with kids. My family has got plenty of young children around, and so many times they'll all come up, or one of them will come up and say, "Hey, Uncle Mike, blah, blah, blah." And I'll look over and go, "Hey, how you doing? When did you show up?" And they've already had a full conversation with me and on their way out the door. I do have a problem with hearing. However, when I'm doing these recordings, I can hear sounds, especially clumps, clanks, bangs, bongs, booms, and that's the problem I have. It's not my hearing problem, it's the problem that I don't know how to describe what I've heard. So I'll just recently, after listening to some of the audio that I had taken from the sheriff's house and old jail, I was listening to 2.5 hours of audio, and every time I heard a sound, I would try to describe that sound. The problem is, a lot of the times I heard the same sound, I described it differently, trying to find the right way to do it. And the reason I can do that here at the house is because I can write it down and say, okay, I can look at all the words that I used and probably pick out one and then rewrite it and do it again and write that same word in, what I feel would be a better word. However, I haven't found that better word yet. And that would be one of the drawbacks of trying to identify something. And I could be an audio expert, but still not know where that sound came from. One, I don't have backing video on audio on these. This came from a hand recorder placed into a cell of John Dillinger, and unfortunately, I didn't think of it at the time, and I should have. I could have put a camera facing the recorder, but I don't. We do have a camera that's down at the end of the hall, but you can't see the recorder due to the angle and the distance, for one. So that's a drawback. So I can't identify what was making certain sounds. I can't also identify, there's a lot of road traffic outside, and that road traffic was at times deafening. Just listening to the audio, I can't believe how many exhausts that I heard throughout the evening that really messed up the audio in between that, though, there was one that almost sounded like a car. However, it was too short to be a car, because you can tell when a car was going by, because you can hear it coming from in the distance, going past, and then continuing into the distance. So you knew right away that car, motorcycle. You can almost identify car, motorcycle, truck. There was one audio that was picked up by another recorder, and it was a strange sound. Well, in my eyes, I debunked it as brakes on a larger truck, like perhaps a box truck, not quite the semi, because that would be a little bit big for that street, and I'm not sure semis were going up and down, but they did have plenty of box trucks that went up and down that street, and box trucks have air brakes, a lot of them. So this was a sound that, and it wasn't a tss, it was when the brakes are being applied, and you can hear that, not a high squeal sound, it was just a squeal sound, but let me see if I can mimic it. Something similar to that. And with that, I kind of debunked it myself as being a little bit truck related, not a disembodied voice. There was, later in that video, perhaps 45 seconds later, there was some type of communication that was made that I was able to identify as 5 syllables, no, 6 syllables, 5 words. And in my belief, after listening to it about 1,000 times, because it's what it takes for me to actually hear something, I believe I'm grabbing the words real quick. I believe what was said was, I am right behind you. That's what I believe was being said. And, or something to that effect. And again, I commented because, we send it to each other in the team, and to get everyone's opinions on what we hear. So I put my opinion in, and I don't know if it was accepted or rejected, but I put my opinion in, and I'm sticking to that. The more I play it, the more I hear the truck brakes, and that's what I'm running with. Okay, so with that, I'm going to move on along a little bit, because I'm long-winded, and that's actually probably why I'm doing it this week, because I feel the need to talk. And in the past couple weeks, I haven't been doing much talking, so I got to get it out. Not good built up, pent up, conversations inside me. So I'm going to go ahead, and we're going to talk about the types of apparitions and give you a little insight onto them. If you've never heard of them, great. If you have heard of all of them, great. Hope you just enjoy this episode, and I'm going to ask that even if you don't like it, like, share, and follow. At least share it. Let other people not like it. I appreciate that. Any type of sharing will really help me spread my not liked podcast. I hope you do like it, and hope you enjoy it. Listen to me ramble on a little bit here and there. And next week, I will probably go back to doing the Lake County Sheriff's House and Old Jail, because we did get a lot of good footage out of there. It's quite interesting, at least to me, to see some of the investigations that are going on. and know that when we do these investigations, this is real life. This is what an investigation truly looks like. I'm not doing any editing. I am playing the video right from the source, or playing the audio right from the source. And I'm not holding anything back, because I'm not going to feed you something that we don't have. So if it does seem boring at times, no, this is what a true investigation is. Because some people get in their head that they watch these TV shows and they're loaded with evidence every episode, and that's not the case. A lot of these times, you'll go out to a place and not get anything. In fact, there was a team just the other day talking about on their podcast pretty much the same thing. They actually went to one place 2 times and got absolutely nothing. And each time the person called back and begged for them to come out because there was activity. And they were getting disappointed, because not that they were trying to find something, but you get to this point where why are you having me come back? I've been out twice already and we haven't found anything. And on their 3rd trip, it was a gold mine. Everything that they didn't get the first 2 trips, they got that and more in the 3rd trip. And that made up for those 2 times that they made out there, so yeah, when I show you these investigations, this is what we go through. Then we have to come home and we have to go through every shred of evidence that we have collected. And that is, well, let's put it this way. If you investigate 3 hours on one recording, you have 3 hours of video to look at. On 2 different cameras, now you've got 6 hours, and so on and so on. So between, in our investigations, a lot of them, go all night long, or at least 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. Most of the time we go past the witching hour just to get past it. And there's only been one other time that we've been on an investigation that we stopped at 2 o'clock, and that was because that was our time frame. So, we're there from 5 o'clock in the evening investigating till the wee hours of the morning. And, you're talking 10 to 12 hours worth of video on one camera. Well, we have multiple cameras. We've got hours and hours of camera footage that we have to go through. And that is a huge undertaking. So while you get the broken down versions where the video might be 10 minutes long or 20 minutes long, usually my body cam shoots in 20-minute increments. It'll shoot the whole time, but it shoots, for whatever reason, it breaks it up into files of 20 minutes. It's just the way it's made. The other cameras I use, they also do break down the video into half-hour increments. Again, don't know why. It'll play back all at once, but I could stop and, a lot of times it'll stop and then I have to start it again. It'll play, an hour and a half, 2 hours at one time, but for some reason, if I look at the file, it's multiple videos. So, I don't know how that works. And it depends on what card it goes on. Some cards, they go the whole thing, and other cards, it will break it down. So anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox and start with the explanation as to what's going on around our world. So Take 2. Okay. Many of us have weird sensations about seeing shadows or shapes out of the corner of our eye, only for them to disappear when we turn to look. And while you may be one of those people who are not afraid of such paranormal experience, did you ever stop and wonder just what kind of ghostly apparition you encountered. Maybe, like most folks, you didn't even consider that there could be different kinds of ghosts out there. But the fact is, experts in the field have put together a list and definitions of the types of supernatural phenomenon that exists. And it may come in handy, especially if you are headed out on an investigation. Several types of ghosts and spirits. While science offers no definitive answers on the nature of what we call ghosts, human cultures across the globe have woven intricate tapestries of belief attempting to categorize and understand these elusive phenomena. From lingering energies to interactive entities, the types of ghosts encountered in folklore and paranormal investigations are as varied as human experience itself. Join me as I delve into some of the most commonly reported manifestations, offering a glimpse into the captivating and often unsettling world beyond our everyday perception. Understanding the lore of ghost formation. So as I continue, it's really going to, across the world. I don't think there is a religion or a species more apt to wanting to see apparitions or ghosts. And I mean by wanting to see, I think people for thousands of years. I know people for thousands of years have always wondered what is out there. What's there for us? And just about every known religion and belief system, there's an afterlife. And, that afterlife is what drives us to continue as a species. We have promise of an afterlife that's better than the life that we have on the earth. Now, granted, life on earth doesn't seem all that grand at times, but once you think about, what's your life really about, you start to wonder, why am I here? What's the purpose? What has put me here and for what reason? And it doesn't matter if you believe in the Big Bang, if you believe in God, if you believe in, Buddha. What purpose am I serving on this earth? Is it a precursor to what's coming? Is this what the Christians call heaven? Is it, did we already live? And this is purgatory? Is this what purgatory is? Did we already live another life, die, and this is where we end up? And we think birth is a new beginning, when really birth is not a new beginning. It's, okay, we were living a different life, we got killed, we died, whatever the case may be, and us being born and going up through this is just our experience in purgatory. Now, I don't believe in purgatory. I don't believe in purgatory as purgatory. I believe in a waiting room, basically, and because there's, as a Christian, there's the belief of the second coming, and I believe we have to wait somewhere, and I don't believe it is a purgatory. I don't, at least in the Catholic explanation of purgatory. So is this purgatory? Do we actually know? The things that we do here, having to go to work. Well, if you're a Christian, once again, Adam and Eve didn't have to go to work. All they had to do was live in the beautiful Garden of Eden. and they blew that. But is this location in between two lives? We don't know. Is death in this life the start of the new life in another realm? Is there another realm? Who knows? We don't know, and that's the problem with experts, because I don't believe that there's experts, and I don't think that experts can answer that because there is no experts yet. I'm sure at some point there will be. Once we can figure out what this life is and what the one that we're looking at is, I heard one explanation of a investigator on another team. Again, it's another podcast that I listen to. He doesn't believe that we are seeing ghosts. He believes that what we're experiencing is a parallel universe or something to that effect. I don't want to exactly say what he's saying, because I'd be lying if I understood what he was getting at. But this is just a basic explanation. So he believes that there is a parallel universe, and every once in a while there's a little glitch in it, and we're seeing other people in the parallel universe, which could possibly explain why we might see a relative or someone we recognize. Of course, once again, I don't believe in that type of explanation. It's not my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is that we are seeing past people, family members, spirits that have resided in a home. And yeah, I do believe certain entities can attach themselves to certain objects, where this guy in this team doesn't believe that. I'm not saying everyone on the team doesn't believe. I'm just saying there's a few guys on that team that don't believe that you can. Or why would you attach yourself to something? Well, you know what? There might be something in life that all of a sudden I'm attracted to. One, my home. I might want to attach myself to my home because I really enjoyed it. I've been here 30 some years so far. 33 years, I think it is. And it's all I know. Outside of my house when I was, being raised, that's, I no longer reside there. I built my family here. So is it possible I might want to attach myself here? Absolutely. What about maybe the people get trapped? Is that where they attach, to that accident? Or is that, something else? So we're going to look into this and see what happens with where this goes. And so bear with me 1 second. I have to excuse myself. Excuse me. All right, I'm back. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. So, all right. Anyway, across the vast tapestry of human culture, the concept of ghosts weaves a consistent thread, often depicting different types of spirits as the lingering essence of individuals unable to move on from the mortal realm. And this inability to transition is frequently attributed to unfinished business. It may be a yearning for resolution, a desire for vengeance, or simply an unwillful purpose. No, unfulfilled purpose. Other types of ghosts are believed to remain due to powerful attachments to the physical world, a beloved home, a cherished possession, or the echoes of significant life events that bind them to specific locations. Tragic or unsatisfactory deaths marked by violence, suddenness, or injustice are also commonly cited as reasons for spirits to remain earthbound their unrest fueling paranormal activity. Other theories suggest that many types of ghosts are not aware beings, but rather energetic imprints, residual echoes of intense emotions, dramatic experiences, or even the very life force of those who have passed. These imprints may replay themselves within a location, creating repeatable phenomena without any intentional interaction, while fictional narratives offer imaginative and sometimes scientifically sound explanations for spectral existence. The scientific community largely explores psychological factors like suggestions, pareidolia, an altered state of perception alongside environmental factors such as infrasound or electromagnetic fields as a potential influences on perceived paranormal experiences. By engaging with these interpretations, enthusiasts can cultivate a deeper sense of wonder and intellectual intrigue and foster a richer appreciation for the diverse beliefs surrounding the types of spirits that may or may not walk among us. So we have several different types of ghosts out there, or what people believe, and one of them is the interactive personality. Now, the most frequently reported type of ghost is that of a deceased individual, often someone familiar like a loved one or even a historical person. These apparitions can exhibit a range of behaviors from friendly to unsettling and may manifest their presence in various ways. These types of spirits might become visible, speak or make sounds, physically touch you, or even produce recognizable smells like perfume or cigar smoke. According to some paranormal experts, these types of ghosts retain aspects of their living personalities and can experience emotions. Their appearance are often interpreted as visits meant to offer comfort or convey important information, suggesting that sighting of a lost one could be a response to your desire or need to see them. Now, that's what I was talking about earlier with how we perceive apparitions. When I experienced my first ghostly experience, I believe that what I saw was a mist of what my wife's aunt was. Now, I never saw a picture of my wife's aunt. Even living at the house that she lived in, there were no photographs. Well, first of all, there wasn't any photographs of the family anywhere in that house to be found. Not a single picture was hung on the wall. Nothing was, I don't remember ever seeing any family albums, which was, really strange now that I think about it. I didn't even really pay attention to it. There was only one or two pictures of my father-in-law that I saw when he was young, and I don't know why that was. And one was beside a motorcycle, and the other one was with his brother. But his sister, I never even saw. So when I saw the mist go past the door, I didn't even put two and two together. When my wife saw the mist go past the door, she never said that she had an aunt. I didn't find out until much later that she had an aunt that lived and died in that apartment. It wasn't really an apartment. It was a family home that was divided into two. And, second floor, first floor type of thing. And, when we moved in, it was turned into an apartment at that point. But, so my wife's aunt lived on the second floor of the family home, and she passed away up there. Massive heart attack. Again, not seeing her, I couldn't give you a description of what she looked like, so I think that, in my opinion, as an expert, I witnessed my wife's aunt as a mist because I wouldn't have known who she was even if I did see her. Now, that doesn't mean that that's going to happen every time, because I might see an apparition later on, a full body apparition, and be able to describe from head to toe what that apparition looks like. So, you know what, and I never really did ask my wife what her aunt, what she saw, other than a white mist. She said she saw something white go across the doorway, but did she see any facial or any physical characteristics that she was able to pick out? I don't know. Never did ask her, so maybe that's something I should ask. The second type of apparition that I'm going to delve into right now is the ectoplasm or ectomist, which I'm wondering if that's what I saw, was an ectomist. Paranormal investigators often identify low-lying mist or fog that seems to swirl with an unnatural movement as an ectomist or a ghostly mist. This vaporous cloud typically hovers a few feet above the ground and can exhibit either rapid movement or remain stationary. Again, with the mist that I saw, it was a rapid movement, and it went really fast across the front of the door. It would be like, if I did that, that's what it was like. So it wasn't stationary, but it did have a quite quick move to it. Sometimes appearing to subtly orbit. These eerie encounters have been documented in numerous videos and photographs, with the mist appearing in shades of white, gray, or even black. While these types of spirits can materialize, linger briefly, and then dissipate quickly, some believe that they are a precursor to a fully formed apparition. Many eyewitness accounts place these sightings in an outdoor location known for their historical significance, tragic past such as graveyards, battlefields, and historical sites. So, yeah, if you're down in, I said it last week, and I'm gonna blow it again this week, Gettysburg. Got it. If you're down in Gettysburg and supposedly by one of the battlefields there, near the forest, hundreds of people have seen the soldiers walking through the forest. Now, I've heard descriptions of walking through the forest left to right, right to left, kind of going through, how you would see them back in the day going through the woods like you would any military movie, especially with jungles or forests, how soldiers break up through that's how they see these people walking. There was one report that I remember of the soldiers walking out of the forest, coming directly at the person in the battlefield, wide open battlefield. The forest was straight ahead of them. There was probably 100 yards between them and the forest, and this group of soldiers was walking out of the forest onto the battlefield, coming at them. So it wasn't going across their view, it was coming directly at them. So originally, I guess it looked like a few soldiers. Then they were able to see the whole entire line of them, and what they were doing other than marching, I don't know. I don't know if there was a drum, if there was a flagger, I don't know. But that was one of the descriptions. And But there's hundreds of those actual same sightings, and it's the same story over and over again, down to the uniform. And I know Union and Rebel uniforms were only slightly different, and sometimes even not even worn. So, not every one of the soldiers actually had a uniform. So that might have worked out, excuse me, for the better for them. Especially they can say, hey, I'm a Union soldier, and get away with it if they're not in uniform. Maybe they'll let them live. Excuse me again while I take a drink. Once my Gab box is just a little dry. All right, so the next one that we're going to take a look at is poltergeists, which I like. I like them. They seem scary because of the movie, but I don't know of anyone that's been injured terribly because of a poltergeist, but I like the term and I like the words. I'm very excited about the words. All right, the term poltergeist, meaning noisy ghost, is widely recognized and associated with particularly disruptive form of haunting. These types of spirits are characterized by their alleged ability to physically interact with their surroundings, such as moving or knocking over objects, creating loud noises, and manipulating the environment. While often familiar in popular culture, poltergeist activity is considered a rare and, for many, the most frightening type of haunting. Manifestations can range from loud knocking and flickering lights to slamming doors and even the mysterious outbreak of fires. A particularly unsettling aspect is the tendency for poltergeist phenomenon to begin subtly and then gradually escalate in intensity. Although these types of ghosts are often harmless, these disturbances have been known to become dangerous. Some researchers propose that poltergeist activity may be an unconscious manifestation of energy controlled by a living individual. Regardless of the explanation, poltergeists continue to captivate the interest of paranormal enthusiasts, experts, scientists, and simply the curious. So, I've never witnessed a poltergeist, or have I? I don't know. We do the flashlight experiment quite often. And with the flashlight experiment, it's quite astounding that we actually get good responses from it. We ask a particular question, we get a specific answer. Or I shouldn't say specific, we get a light answer. And what I mean by a light answer is, if you're here, turn on the light. Light comes on. Okay, if that was you, turn it off. Light goes off. If you're a male, turn the light on. If not, leave it off. You're a female. Okay. We get a lot of good responses. If you're a child, boom, all this stuff happens constantly. Is that poltergeist activity? It's hard to define because it is manipulating something. Is being touched by an entity poltergeist activity? Again, I'm being manipulated some kind of way. I was being touched, scratched, knots in your stomach. You feel ill or you're lightheaded, you have to leave. That's a manipulation. So is that a characteristic of poltergeist activity? And like this says that poltergeist scientists feel that a lot of poltergeist activity is actually manifested from the person that is experiencing it. Now, if you watch the movie Poltergeist, you'll get a complete different feeling. And of course, it's made for movies, so the poltergeists are considered evil. And not really, I don't know if they really did consider it evil or not. And the reason I'm saying that is, well, in the movie, they built the home on a Indian burial ground or a cemetery of, excuse me, some sort, and it was the angry, spirits of the people that were buried there. Well, they're letting themselves be known, and with the poltergeist activity, they not just, maybe they weren't being heard. Maybe they wanted to be heard, and the only way for anyone to actually listen is by stacking tables on the chair, or chairs on the tables, and stacking plates and books in the middle of the room, and moving things around, and this, that, and the other. So, stealing Carol Ann. Now, that part I don't believe, but, poltergeist activity is reported all the time. I don't think that I could manifest it. I don't think I have the energy to be able to manifest plates being stacked, especially neatly. So I believe it is a spirit. Again, my belief, I'm not an expert, I'm not a scientist, I am simply curious. But my belief is that it's a entity or spirit that wants to be known for whatever reason. Maybe there's a buried treasure in the house. Maybe there's paperwork alluding to their, maybe they were accused of something negative and there's proof and they want to be resolved of that, and what have you. So, that's what I believe a poltergeist is. A spirit or entity trying to get your attention for a particular reason. And whatever that reason is, you might want to listen to them. It might turn out to be something good. It might, what if you're having problems with proving the house is yours? They might know where the deed is. For instance, when my father-in-law passed away, my mother-in-law could not find her high school ring. And she blamed my father-in-law for selling it. Well, first of all, that doesn't make any sense, period. Why would my father-in-law sell her high school ring, who was never in need of money? Never. So that never made sense. But she couldn't make sense of the fact that she couldn't find it, and she just blamed the easiest person, someone that's not there. It didn't work out for her because my daughter was able to communicate with her grandfather and was able to describe to an exact location and placement of said ring, and it was found. Of course, it was found with help from the other side, which I believe if he really wanted to, he could have moved it. Now, you guys might not believe that my daughter was able to locate that with her being sensitive, but she did. And she would have never known where that ring was. My father-in-law did not allow the kids into that cabinet for the simple fact is that's where he kept his guns. He was a Chicago policeman, and that was his locked cabinet for the guns. And that's where I'm sure if my mother-in-law would have taken the time to have gone through, because it wasn't locked to her, it was only locked to the kids. And She more than, was able and capable of going through those drawers. She would have found it eventually, but with the aid of my daughter telling her what drawer to open, what box to go in, where exactly that was at, it was a lot faster. So, could he have started doing poltergeist activity to maybe point that out? He probably could have. That's my guess. I don't believe and subscribe to the fact that I am the one that is creating poltergeist activity. That's just how it is, and that's just where I'm at. All right, so the next is orbs. And wow, orbs are probably the most controversial of any type of evidence, and I can understand why. Too many things can create an orb, and there's a certain time in a certain place that I look at orbs, and my sister-in-law has sent me 2 or 3 different videos from her basement at her up one of the buildings that she owns, and it shows an orb doing a strange move, and it's not moving. First of all, it's not moving like a spider. Second of all, it's not moving like a dust particle. I have all kinds of video right now, and you've watched 2 of it. You can go back and watch it again, where there's nothing but bugs and dust particles in all the footage. Study that, and perhaps next week, or maybe the week after, I'll try to remember to do it next week, to show you the difference between that footage and the footage from my sister-in-law's building. The orb acts completely different than either one of those, and you can tell in the Lake County Sheriff's House and old jail that there's dust and different types of bugs. It is so easy to tell. Now, in the videos that I'll show you from my sister-in-law's, it's completely different. Acts completely different than all the other things. And I know there's different explanations for it, but trust me, the dust at the Lake County Sheriff's thing was rampant. It was horrible. And you're going to, people are going to say it's because of all your movement. Well, I got news for you. It was moving before we even got there. And there's no air conditioning. There's no heat. There's no air circulation whatsoever. There are a few broken windows occasionally in different locations, but for the most part, where we were at, there wasn't broken windows. And the way the dust was moving was unbelievable. And I picked it up all the time. I mean, I was looking at it through the viewfinder. That's how bad it was. So, and not to mention the fact that I was breathing that. But, I will try to, if at all possible, remember to show you the difference next week in next week's episode. But I'm going to move on with orbs. Orbs are perhaps the most frequently captured anomaly in paranormal photography. These phenomena typically appear as transparent or translucent spheres. Big words today. Spheres of light seemingly hovering above the ground, often surprising ghost hunters and tour participants alike. It is commonly theorized that orbs represent the souls of deceased humans or even animals in transit between locations. Their spherical form is believed to facilitate movement, and they are often considered an initial stage before a spirit might manifest as a full-bodied apparition. When caught on video, their rapid speed can be astonishing. While they typically appear white in photographs, they can sometimes exhibit a blue hue. Now, I don't know if I'm pretty sure I talked about this in one of the early episodes. Boy, that was like so long ago, only like 10 episodes ago. Anyway, when I was at my very first investigation with Chicago Paranormal Investigators, we went down into the basement of the rectory, and for whatever dumb reason, I didn't have my camera on. I didn't have my camera recording. I had it on, but I didn't have it recording. I found a seat. I think I was my back was starting to really hurt. I have a severe bad back problem, and I think it was starting to hurt. So I found a chair and plopped down in the chair and was kind of just relaxing before we started the spirit box session. And I had the camera kind of sitting in my lap facing the strip lights, the tripwire lights. And the tripwire were starting about 5 or 6 feet in front of me and then going out into the hallway. So again, I think it's a 15-foot or maybe 20-foot cord, and it's got, maybe 10 or 15 lights on it. And as I was sitting there, I was kind of just glancing down at my viewfinder, and I had noticed an orb. Well, first, let me back up a little bit. 2 of our members heard something out in the hallway. So they had walked out. Now, could they have drugged dust with them? Yes, they could have. However, it would have been dust, not a piece. Could it have been a bug? It could have been. However, once again, it followed them out the door, and it went down towards the lights. And once it went past my viewfinder, the lights started going on as it went out the door. So, my explanation is that was an orb that was witnessed, that was going to manifest or could have manifested into a full body apparition or something to that effect, and it was going to see where those 2 investigators were going. That's my opinion. I saw it, like I said, at first I saw it as an orb, and then the lights went on. So it went through the viewfinder, and it didn't go through like this. It went through like this. So it came basically from top. Well, let me do it from this side. Came from way up here and went down across my viewfinder out of view. And then when it left the bottom corner of the viewfinder, so once again, I'm over here, and it came across and went down. So when it got down to that part of the viewfinder, it went across the lights. And that to me was an orb. That was not a bug. It wasn't dust. It wasn't a spider walking across my lens. There was no spider on my lens. I know that for a fact. Not that there couldn't have been a bug that did that exact movement at that exact moment. Yes, there is a coincidence that could have happened. Yes, I do believe that. However, I don't believe that was the case. I believe it was a true 100% orb, because if I would have recorded it, you would have seen that it was bright, but yet it was completely translucent. I was able to see the lights that weren't getting lit up through the orb. And it didn't move that fast. It just went nice and easy across my viewfinder, and I was watching it. So I do believe that could be a real thing. Orbs can be real. Not every orb is real. I believe that for the majority of the orbs out there, the orbs that we see on a regular basis, a lot of that, probably 95%, if not more, is probably dust or bug related. There are other types of bugs out there that, or I don't want to call them orbs, but there's some type of name for it, and they're just long lines, bright lines. I forgot what they call them, but I'm going to have to look that up. And those are also something that is in the orb realm, except they're not orbs. They're little lines. All right. So moving along, there is something called funnel ghosts. And this one I don't understand. Among the fascinating types of ghost encountered, the funnel ghost, also known as a vortex, is most commonly observed in residential settings or aged historical buildings and is often accompanied by a noticeable cold spot. These type of spirits typically manifest as a swirling funnel shape, and many paranormal experts theorized they represent a visiting loved one or a former inhabitant of the location, appearing as either a subtle, wisp of light or a more defined swirling spiral of luminescence. Funnel ghosts are frequently captured in photographic or video evidence and pictures. Wow. Problems there. All right. Pictures. I don't think I have ever, in all my years of doing this, ever seen a funnel ghost. I don't know what expert wrote this one, but I don't think I've ever... I don't recall anybody ever showing me a picture and go, that's a funnel ghost, or seeing one even on the TV shows. Now, wow, even for the TV shows, that's really unusual. That's a weird one. That's a little bit out there in left field. So, all right, moving along. Ways to experience the paranormal. So, for those intrigued by the spectral realm, there are various avenues to potentially experience the paranormal. I'm going to list a few methods here. Visiting haunted locations, exploring sites with documented histories of paranormal activity, such as historic buildings, cemeteries, former hospitals. That's a very popular way to seek encounters. Some believe that places with intense past events or tragic occurrences may have a higher likelihood of harboring residual energy or even types of ghosts tied to the location. Another way is guided tours. Of course, many cities, especially New Orleans, Chicago, New York, they've got plenty of ghost tours, and a lot of them have well-known people to do so. In Chicago, we had a guy named Richard Crowe. He was on all types of TV programs, wrote tons of books. He was more a folklorist than he was a ghost hunter, but he combined the two and really made a go of it. We have Dale Kaczmarek. He's a big-time ghost hunter, been on plenty of TV shows. Ursula Bielski, she writes several books. She's, again, another folklorist, and I believe she used to do tours. I'm not sure if she still does that or not. But you can go to any big city, or any city pretty much anywhere today, and find a ghost tour. So that is, one way to experience it. And you can do your investigations there. You might have to move a little, quickly or, whatever, but always have your recorder going. So, yeah, many cities offer guided tours that take participants to reputedly haunted sites. These tours are often share local legends and historical context, sometimes incorporating basic ghost hunting techniques and equipment. They can provide a structured and social way to explore potential paranormal hotspots and learn about different types of spirits believed to inhabit the area. I am not a fan of... I'm a fan of going on ghost tours. I love going on ghost tours. I am not a fan of hearing all of the lore, because sometimes you're looking for that. And when you're looking for it, you want it to happen, and it doesn't happen, or you believe it happens. It could be disappointing, and it could be a letdown if you're expecting something. Another problem with going on tours is you're paying for this, so you automatically expect to see something ghostly. Hearing a person talk all night, like myself, isn't really a cup of tea when you're out trying to have a good time with your friends. So what you need to do is try to find ghost tours that have interaction with them. In other words, you're going to have time to do an investigation. We did one down in, we did one in Salem, which was really good. You're out there for 4 or 5 hours. The tour guide is well versed in where you're at, your locations, knows where there was experiences, and that's really where I learned how to do the flashlight trick. I really thought that was cool, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. We got really good responses. I even caught an EVP from that experience, and I have that. I still have it on my phone to this day, and really excited by it. So, that's one good way is to get to it with a tour that has the potential of doing an investigation along with it. The Ghosts and Graveyards Fright Scene Tour is an excellent option for those looking to learn the history behind potential hauntings. Now, you have to find out where they're running, but I'm guessing they're pretty well known. Conducting an independent investigation for a more hands-on approach. Some individuals or groups conduct their own paranormal investigation. This often involves researching a location's history, setting up a recording equipment, audio recorders, cameras, EMF meters, and employing techniques like EVP, electronic voice phenomenon sessions, or simply observing and documenting any unusual occurrences. It's really simple. It's a really simple process. It's long and arduous when you're trying to go through all the evidence at the end of the fact, but it's a good time. And you don't have to have professional equipment. You can go out there with a hand recorder. You can go out there with your phone, take pictures and record. A lot of them have the memo section, which really works out nice, being able to do the memos. And this way you can get your EVPs. Some of them have, apps. I don't subscribe to the apps. I don't believe that they work. The one that may work with you is the SB12 Spirit Box. That might be something that you can use that you might get legitimate response from, because it's basically just running through radio stations extremely fast. So that one you might be able to get away. But these ghost radars, yeah, those are, they're listed as entertainment only. And that's what they mean. It's entertainment. It's not real. You're not going to get a ghost radar and have them show up on your screen. Don't believe in that, please. But the SB12, if they've upgraded it since, I've had it, that's great. But yeah, you don't have to spend a lot of money on a lot of equipment. You can get cheap palm recorders or voice recorders. A lot of people just have them around maybe when they were through college and, put it down for the professor so they can hear their professor later on. You don't have to have expensive cameras. In fact, one of the best is, in my opinion, is the Instamatic cameras, the Polaroid Instamatics. Those are awesome. You get the response right then and there. You get to see your work happen, within 5 minutes, 10 minutes at most. And real cheap, again, hand recorders, video cameras, what have you. Stuff laying around. You can, a lot of people have those handheld thermometers. You can buy those dirt cheap now on Amazon, Harbor Freight, Menards. They're really not expensive, $35, whatever. So yeah, you can go out there with a group of friends and have a good time. Just make sure you have permission. That's all I'm going to say. So we're going to move along, but yeah, that's some of the ways you can experience it. I'm going to ask you to refrain from doing your own home. That's not always a good idea because you don't know what doors you're going to open and you don't know really who you're talking to. At the end of the day, you want to be able to be comfortable in your own home. If you accidentally open a door that isn't supposed to be open and you let something in and you're fighting it, you can have a miserable time. The team that I always listen to say, though, it's the Catholics that are the only ones that do exorcism, if you will. But there's plenty of religious factors out there that will help and can help. But, you got to find them, and it's not easy. And while they're right that the Catholics actually probably do the most, it's really hard to get the Catholics involved, especially if you're not Catholic. They prefer their own people, understandable. They will do it, but it takes a lot to get them out there especially if you're not Catholic or not part of their parish. So be careful. Don't usually do investigations in your own home because, again, you don't know what you're going to open up. And if you do practice that at home, make sure you have an out. Make sure you close the door if you open it. And there's a way to go about that. So read into it, figure out, how to properly investigate something, and make sure if you're living there, make sure you can close the door. You don't want to invite things or leave the door open where anything can come in. You might be talking to the right person at the right time, but you leave the door open and that person goes and someone else takes its place. Doppelganger is one that was not talked about, and I feel that the doppelganger is probably the most dangerous of the apparitions, you might want to watch out for the doppelganger because it mimics a person that you know, a living person, a lot of the time. Not only can it mimic a dead person, but it can mimic the living. And that's what's scary. There's a story, and I'm just relaying this story. I didn't create the story. I don't know the person. I'm just relating the story that this is documented by the husband and I think another couple. This husband and wife and another couple got together, went out to dinner. The thing is, the wife was on I think it was a business trip that the wife was on, or, just maybe a trip by herself. And the husband came home. She was home. They called up their friends, said, hey, let's go out to dinner, blah, blah, blah. They go out to dinner. They have a regular dinner with the other couple. They get done. They go home. They have lovemaking session. Goes to sleep, only to wake up to his wife gone out of the bed and a phone call saying, why aren't you here at the airport picking me up? How do you explain that? First of all, you've got 3 people sitting down to dinner with this other person that isn't the person. The husband goes home and makes love to his wife that isn't his wife, which that happens all the time, but this he believed to be his wife. The couple that he was with believed she was his wife. They did notice something different about her, but they figured it was jet lag. Didn't really put much, credibility into it. And just, okay, yeah, she's tired. Big deal. I'd be tired too if I was traveling all day or, whatever. So, here we are. Doppelgangers are dangerous things. Can be. I mean, he could have lost his marriage. The only thing that saved his marriage, and the wife tells the story, is the fact that the other couple collaborated his story. That's the only thing that saved their marriage, other than the fact that, he didn't get this doppelganger pregnant, we hope. But anyway, that is one that wasn't brought up by the so-called experts that I'm kind of concerned about. Doppelgangers, they scare me. And I don't mean I'm afraid to go running away from them. I'm afraid of what they can be capable of. Sounds all fun until someone gets an eye put out. All right, so understanding the purported characteristics of different types of ghosts, such as poltergeist or residual hauntings, can inform the investigation methods used. Using paranormal investigation equipment, various tools are marketed for the paranormal investigation, including EMF meters to detect electromagnetic field fluctuations, infrared thermometers to identify unexplained temperature drops and or raises, REM pods, proximity sensors that trigger alarms. So a REM pod, if you're not familiar, REM pod is various different shapes, but it has, most of the time, it has an antenna, and I showed it in one of my equipment used episodes. And the closer you get, the alarm goes off. So if you get close to the antenna or touch it, it will go off and say something's touching. I have cat balls, no peeking, that will light up, and they don't make any sound, but they do light up. And in fact, which is funny, I just created these here for my cat balls to be able to use them as a communication device. And of course you can see yes and no on them, and it just holds the cat ball in place, so it's not rocking all over the place and rolling away on me. Those are going to be invaluable. So that's another proximity sensor, and they are just getting better and better with all these type of proximity sensors. They're all different types of makes and models, and bells and whistles, literally bells and whistles. So that will help you out. While the scientific validity of these tools in detecting spirits is debated, some believe they can help identify potential paranormal activity or the presence of certain types of spirits that might influence the environment. So, it's none of that is proven science. None of it. You have to try and see what works for you. For me, EVPs are great. The flashlight responses are great. Even those tripwires, I love them. They really seem to work well. Laser grids, I love using laser grids, to see if anything moves through the laser grid. And we had that experience at the Divine Savior Church, where we actually saw something break the lasers going into a hallway. Of course, we didn't pick up anything on camera, but we did see movement through it, which was kind of cool. And it was approximately anywhere from the floor to 4 or 5 feet high. So yeah, that was kind of cool. I think it happened once or twice while I was there, and I was glad to see that. Some of the other ways to experience the ghostly realm is participating in seances or spiritualist gatherings. In some spiritualist traditions, seances are conducted as a means to communicate with spirits. These gatherings often involve a medium who attempts to bridge the gap between the living and the dead. Beliefs about the nature and behavior of different types of ghosts often inform the practices and interpretations within these sessions. Yeah, I'm not a great big believer in doing seances. Again, unless the medium or the sensitive is very versed in doing seances, I wouldn't practice that. Doing the Ouija board, wouldn't practice that. I have a Ouija board. I don't touch it. I don't know. I think I just bought it to have it around as a novelty. I didn't really ever. I think I pulled it out of the box once, and it's been in the box ever since. In fact, I think the planchet's even gone. I don't know. But yeah, that's not something that I like to mess with. It's not that I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid of me messing up and not being able to close the door that I open. That, again, is the most important part of any type of ghost hunting that you do. If you open a door, close the door. If you don't even think you open the door, close one. Close the door anyway. Have a closeout session at the end of your investigation. Whether you do it privately or you do it with the team, have a closeout session. You tell these spirits that they're not welcome to follow you home. You're there to stay where they're at. No one is allowed to hitch a ride on your personal body or personal items, and close it out. Close it out to them. And if you're a believer in it, then you believe that you should be able to control that type of action. You don't want to bring something home that your family can get hurt by or whatever. So in conclusion, the realm of the paranormal is a multitude of beliefs and observations. Whether you are a seasoned investigator or simply curious about the spectral energy that surrounds us, Understanding the various types of ghosts and the diverse ways in which these spirits are believed to manifest can enrich your exploration. The quest to understand the paranormal remains a journey of intrigue and challenges people to look between belief and observation. So, yeah, I'm going to pretty much almost stop there. I've got frequently asked questions I can go through real quick. As long as it doesn't take more than 4 minutes and 15 seconds, we're all right. So, frequently asked questions: is there scientific evidence for different types of ghosts? Like I said earlier, currently there is no widely accepted scientific evidence to definitively categorize different types of ghosts. These classifications are based on anecdotal accounts and paranormal investigations. So yeah, it's, pretty much, again, it's not a proven fact, and that's why I don't agree with the comments made in here about experts. I don't know. There's got to be a different way to describe these people. Again, well versed, experienced, but not expert. What are the most common types of ghost sightings? Well, let's see what they have, if it's a good answer or not. All right, interactive personality ghosts appearing as deceased individuals are the most commonly reported type. Well, that makes sense. It's, again, most people see their family members. I shouldn't say most. A lot of people see their family members, and that's to be understood, especially after a recent death, when probably they're more easily able to show themselves right after death or what have you. And probably for the next week, I would say, would probably be the best before things start happening to their body. I know it doesn't happen to the soul, but, I don't know if once you leave your body and you're looking upon it and you finally realize that, okay, this guy down here is not a doctor as I'd like him to be, and he is draining me of my life essence, which is blood, and it's going down the drain. Perhaps I'm not here anymore. Well, okay. That's understandable. But that's when I would think that most of the sightings of family members are noted, probably within the first week or two of just passing. All right, so why do ghosts haunt certain places and not others? Well, we don't know that. We don't know that every location on this earth isn't have some type of spirit. Maybe the activity isn't there, but I feel, in my personal beliefs, is somebody has stepped somewhere on this earth since dawn of time, and every location has a person that's been there. Doesn't matter where it is today. Thousands and thousands of years ago, when we were walking the earth, someone's put a foot there, and I believe that every location has something there. It's just not experienced there because maybe nobody wants, or maybe there's no one there for a lot of the time, or maybe that spirit doesn't need to show itself or have any need to be known. Yeah, let's see what the experts say. Locations may become haunted due to emotional residue. Okay, I get that. The stone tape theory, where intense emotional events imprint psychic energy that replays repetitively as residual hauntings. Alternatively, intelligent hauntings involve conscientious spirits tied to places significant in their lives due to attachments or unfinished business. Yes, I agree. That unfinished business might be as simple as giving someone a warning. If I pass away and I know why I passed away, and maybe it was because of something in the home causing it, I'm going to try to warn my loved ones. I'm going to try to say, hey, look out for that carbon monoxide. Or, hey, you know what? That first step down the stairs, that's a doozy. Look out for that. And people get pushed, shoved, kicked. Why are they doing that? Well, maybe that's because they're trying to push you past something. Maybe if you would have stepped out that door and stepped onto that first board that you were going to step on, you would have gone through. We don't know until that apparition, spirit, family member pushes you, you've overstepped that board and didn't go through it. Or knocked you out of the way of an incoming car. You don't know. So, yeah, a lot of different thoughts in that pattern. How could you tell if a place is haunted? Okay, well, signs of a haunted place include unexplained sounds, knocking, voices, sudden cold spots, moving objects, shadows, or apparitions, flickering lights, phantom smells, feelings of unease and unusual animal behavior, people investigating using historical research, eyewitness accounts, and their senses, and technology like EMF meters and audio recorders. While these signs are often attributed to types of ghosts, it's important to rule out nature or natural explanations first. So yeah, you can have all the EMF meters in the world, and you might be getting a hit somewhere, and oh wow, look how high it's peaking. Well, if you don't go any further and try to figure out where that EMF is coming from, then it means nothing. So if there's an upstairs or an attic or a downstairs with the basement that you can get down to, or a crawl space that you can actually crawl into, you might find a huge intersection of wiring that goes right there, creating this immense EMF location. Or, you might be walking through a cold spot, but why is that cold spot there? Maybe, you don't know. Most of the time, investigations take part in the evening. Maybe there's an open window that is just directing the cold spot right there. Look around is what I'm getting at. Don't just take it for what it is. There might be a cold spot, and it might be a 5 to 10 degree difference, but that cold spot might be attributed to an open window, maybe a floor vent that's blowing directly up. Who knows? Someone might have covered a floor vent. Back in the day, they used to put floor vents in the middle of the floor. Just random, right there in the middle. And, so it could be under the carpet and people just don't even realize it. It's a pain in the ass to keep walking around it because, it's a big vent and you might put your foot through it. Well, people get tired of that. Look at a carpet over the top and you're not going to fall through it. But they've covered up that vent and there's a cold spot there. I've seen that. Not doing an investigation, but I've seen it when I've torn up floors, to put hardwood floor in or redo some remodeling. And I'm like, wow, actual working vent covered by carpeting. So, it might be a simple explanation as that. It might even be a throw rug that someone, put down there, or one of those Persian, whatever, Persian rugs, and you might be able to lift it and see if there is something there. Are some types of ghosts considered more dangerous than others? Again, poltergeists are considered the most potentially dangerous type of spiritual disturbance due to their reported ability to manipulate the physical environment and, in rare cases, become harmful. Well, yeah, a poltergeist can probably pick up a knife and throw it at you. Again, it can manipulate the area around you. With that being said, I feel, to me, while knives have been thrown, forks have been thrown, spoons have been thrown, none have, as far as I know, to this date, been able to hurt anybody. So, poltergeists to me are not the most dangerous. The most dangerous happen to be doppelgangers that can mimic your living person and or a ghost. So, yeah. Again, poltergeist means noisy ghost and refers to the type of haunting characterized by the ability to move objects, make sounds, and manipulate the physical environment. I'm not going to get into deep talk about those poltergeist anymore. And I'm not going to talk about orbs anymore. Orbs are low on my list of video evidence or photographic evidence. And we all know, we believe that the orbs are a manifestation of human or animals, spirits, and that's pretty much the end of it. Orbs, like I said, it did show me something at one point, but again, they're low on my totem pole. Flashlight evidence, EVPs, recorded evidence, either video and or audio, that is the best type to get. Photographic is very important, and several apparitions have been captured or said to have been captured. But anyway, with that, I hope that you've learned something. I've learned something. I didn't know anything about a funnel ghost, but that seemed a little bit interesting. But for your ghost host, I'm going to say good evening, thank you, and please like, share, and follow. Check us out on YouTube and all your favorite podcast platforms. Check out the Not Podcast with Mike, Lou, and Ed, the Never On Topic podcast, where us three morons talk about everything and anything and never really finish a topic. And continue to watch me, and I have YouTube at Mike Whitty 6222, and we are also on Edzilla 45 on YouTube. We're on Spotify, Apple in video form, and we are on every other platform out there. So watch or listen, enjoy, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in, and God bless.